Hello everybody and welcome to the AWS Wireless Backoffice RF Testing and Asbuilt Documentation video. This is the third and final video that you'll need prior to doing an AWS WBO installation. Okay, we're going to start with the RF testing portion. In order to correctly complete the RF testing, you're going to need two different things. The first is a Belkin dual band wireless adapter, and secondly you're going to need to download the free version of Insider. If you refer to the Appendix A on your IDG, you'll see what model of dual band adapter you'll need to purchase. It is the Belkin dual band wireless USB adapter. It's model F7D4101 version 1. You can typically get this at your local Walmart or Best Buy. You can also order it online for cost savings. Keep in mind this is the only approved Wi-Fi adapter for this project. Many of you have new laptops with internal cards that can also read 5 GHz signal. However, that is not approved. So you will need the dual band adapter, Belkin, in order to do this work. Okay, next is Insider. You will need to download Insider 1.2 or 2.0. This is a free program found at www.metageek.net/products/Insider. You can also reference your IDG top of page 29. We also have found a few issues with Insider 2.0. So when you're running Insider, if you see anything fishy or it's just not working the way it's supposed to be, try downloading the older version. It's version 1.2. You could just Google that and just type in Insider 1.2. You should be able to find the download fairly easily. Okay, for each test point, AWS requires the installers to provide a screen capture of Insider for each test location in the Asbuilt. So what we are looking at here is one of those screenshots. If you look at the top right, you'll see where it says Belkin Play Wireless USB Adapter. This is how AWS knows that you have used the correct adapter, and they do check that, so just make sure you're not trying to use a non-approved adapter. They will know. All testing should be performed at the driver's side edge of the drive-thru, and you should scan each location for a minimum of 60 seconds. This will give the RSI reading a chance to stabilize before taking your screen capture. If you look at the columns first seen and last seen, this is the time that AWS will be looking at, just to make sure that the reading was for at least 60 seconds. Keep in mind that if the results do not show a 60-second reading, they will kick this back to you and make you redo your reading. The RSSI is on the top left of the screen under RSSI column. Notice to the left you'll see the SSIDs. Make sure the SSIDs you're looking at are names AP1_beacon, AP2_beacon, and AP3_beacon. Notice you don't see AP3 beacon here. The reason for this is because this screen capture was taken on the inside of the building, and you're only seeing a really good signal under AP1 beacon. AP2 beacon is barely visible because it's next to the side on the outside. As you walk outside the side building, you'll see when you're doing your testing that AP2 beacon will go way high and will have a really good reading, and AP1 should go down, and then as you walk around the building, AP3 beacon will shoot up and AP2 will go down, and you'll probably see AP1 beacon disappear. This is correct if that's happening. It's just because as you get further away from the antennas, your signal is going to drop off, and as you get closer to a new one, your signal is going to get higher. And I suggest that before you go do your install, you download this program, install your Belkin wireless adapter, make sure it's working properly. You're probably not going to have any 5 GHz signal floating around, but at least make sure that you can see and use your Belkin adapter, and you kind of know your way around Insider. This will help eliminate your long time on site knowing how to use these programs. Okay, now for the Asbuilt Excel document. This document will be sent to you via email upon scheduling. You will need this saved to your laptop electronically so that you can complete this while on site. It is required to complete this on site and upload it on site. Prior to being released, you will have to upload this, so make sure you save it to your laptop prior to dispatching. I'm going to take you through the entire Asbuilt completion steps for each tab required. Okay, the first tab is the Property Information tab. This tab is pretty self-explanatory and probably the easiest tab to complete. However, technicians still make a few minor mistakes, so let's just go ahead and take a look at this anyway. Okay, this is what the Property Information tab looks like. As you can see, there's a few things we have to fill out here, and it's pretty self-explanatory, like I said previously. When you're looking at the property name and store number, it's the McDonald's, MCD, and the store number. You can find this on your work order. I think it says site name at the top left. Then they also want the property address. This is also on your work order. You just need to copy that off of there into here. As you can see, this site was done in Branson, Missouri, and the zip code 65616. And then the one thing that the technicians mess up on the most probably is this contracting company. We have a few different types of technicians for OneSource. Some of you may know this. We have some direct technicians, and we also have some subcontractors, individually owned businesses that do work for us. A lot of the individually owned businesses will put in their own company name, and we just want to make sure that you put OneSource here all the time. We are the contracting company to AT&T, so just make sure you put OneSource. You could also put OSBT here if you wanted to. Then you can see the installer name, so that's your name, the technician that was on site doing the install, and then the install date that it was completed on. Just make sure that you put the completed date here, because usually the technician will go to the site, and if for some reason it doesn't finish or the site fails out, you won't have to upload the as-built typically. But when you come back, a day from now or 2 days from now, just make sure the date is, the day that you were released and the site was completed on. So if you upload the as-built and today and it has an older date in here, the ITAC will probably make you change that. The last thing is the return tracking number here. What you'll want to do is at the end of the install, you want to grab all the stuff that you de-installed, like the 8-port switch and possibly an access point, and put those in a box. And you should have a return packing slip that was put in the packing slip of the boxes that came. So when you're doing the equipment inventory, you'll want to grab the packing slips off those boxes, and inside there should be a return label for you. So you want to take out the return label, put it on the box that you're going to ship back the equipment, and record that number right here. You also need to give this to the OneSource call center upon checkout. So when you call to checkout, they'll ask you a series of questions, and the very last question should be, what is a return tracking number? So just make sure you document this. And that's it for the property information tab. Okay, and next tab is the pictures tab. There are a series of pictures you will be required to take. You just want to go through that list on the customer acceptance document. Make sure you take each one of those photos and get those uploaded. So let's take a look at that, and I'll show you how that should look. Okay, now looking at the property information tab, let's go to the pictures tab. And as you can see here, there's a lot of photos in here. I'm just going to go through these photos and kind of explain each one and show you what they should look like. As you see in the top here, it tells you that all these photos are required. All pictures should be scaled to fit in the space provided for each picture in the as-built, and an explanation should be entered in the space for pictures if for some reason the picture cannot be taken. And then it also talks about reducing the size of the pictures so that the file is not so large. Alright, so the first picture, basically if you click here, it'll show you what you're supposed to be taking a picture of. So this is the NMD, the D-Link 24-port switch, and the PoE midspan here. You'll see the cabinet, and then over here there's a little sign here that says MCD 10516. This is pretty much required in almost every single photo. There's going to be a few photos where you can't get the sign in. For instance, the next picture, this one's asking for the NMD showing all internal cabling and connections. So you can see all the connections in here, but as you can see, it'd be pretty hard to get a sign in here. The next one to the right is the close-up photo showing the Cat5 cable terminations connected to the PoE midspan. So what they're looking for here is a proper termination. As you can see, the jacket is inside the RJ45 connection. If it's not, they're going to kick this back and make you re-terminate the cables. And here is just another photo of the cabinet. They give you another space here for additional photo. It's optional. So there's something else you think you need to take a picture of the cabinet or this section of things, and just go ahead and place a photo there. The next section is basically everything for the AP1 radio and antennas. So in this first picture, it's asking for a close-up showing AP1 mounting the PoE dongle and antenna connections. So you can see the antenna connections. On top, what they're going to be looking for is the white connections, because the 2.4 gigahertz antenna is connected to the top side of the AP, and the 5 gigahertz is extended into the kitchen with these 25-foot RF cables. And right here you can see the dongle in the background and the sign. The next photo is the one that probably most of you are familiar with. This is a distance photo showing the ceiling tile and the location of AP1. So you see the ladder. The sign is sitting there on the ladder. Not really legible, but it's back there. And then the ceiling tile is open, so you can see where the AP is at. The next photo is going to be a close-up of the AP1 Cat5 cable termination and connected to AP1. So right here, as you can see the dongle and the connection to that. You can see that the sheathing is inside the RJ45, and we've got our sign here. The next section is the AP1 2.4 gigahertz antenna. So you can see the ladder and the sign, and then you see the MIMO antenna connected to the ceiling grid right there. And this is in the lobby, so this would be the 2.4 gigahertz attached to the top side of the actual radio, or the AP. Next is the AP1 5 gigahertz antenna in the kitchen area. So you can see, you can kind of see out there in the front, that's where the front lobby is. So this is just behind the menu board area in the kitchen, and you can see the MIMO antenna up there attached to the ceiling grid, and the ladder underneath with the sign showing the McDonald's store number. If for some reason there's any additional photos you think you might want to take, they give you another optional spot here for that. The next section is AP2 radio. So the first picture is going to be the close-up showing AP2, PoE dongle, and the antenna connection. So as you can see, the AP2 RF cable is plugged into the 5 gigahertz A port, the bottom right. You can see the mounting of AP2 and the AP2 dongle, as well as the connection and the sign. The next photo is the distance photo of AP2, so we know where to find AP2 at. As you can see, this is a distance photo showing the ladder and the ceiling tile removed, and the sign is right there on the ladder. The next photo, they're wanting a photo showing the AP2 Cat5 cable termination connected to AP2. So you can see the dongle is there connected to the AP, and our cable plugs right into the dongle, and looks like we have a good connection there, and we also have our sign. Next section is the AP2 5 gigahertz antenna. You can see the sign in the picture and the antenna mounted, clean cable. The next photo is going to be the picture showing the RF cable penetration on the inside. So this is the inside, so you can see it's sealed up with fire stop, and our sign is in the photo as well. The next photo, they're looking for the entire side of the building. One thing that the techs mess up the most here is not getting the entire side of the building. As you can see, we can see the left side and the right side. You can see the whole side of the McDonald's restaurant. We have our sign in the picture, and you can see where the ladder and the antenna is right there. To the right, this is another picture here of the penetration of the outside, because we couldn't get that photo in the same picture as the antenna here. Typically they'll want the penetration with that picture, but since it goes over the freezer, our penetration is right here with silicone on the outside. The next set of photos for AP3. This one's wanting the up close showing the AP3 mounting, PoE dongle, and antenna connection. As you can see, AP3 antenna is connected to the bottom right port, 5 gigahertz A, and the power dongle is right there, as well as our sign in the picture. The next is the far away showing location picture. You see the ladder and the ceiling tile removed of AP3. Then we'll go into the AP3 photo showing AP3 Cat5 cable termination connected to AP3. So you'll see the power dongle and our connection. We have a good termination there, and our sign is in the background as well. And here's another photo. We put in the additional photo because the penetration is not at the same spot as the antenna picture. So if you scroll down, you'll see the picture they wanted was the AP3 antenna close-up mounting and the outdoor building penetration. But you can't see the penetration here because we go over the top of the freezer. And so that's why we added this additional photo here. So you can see it's sealed up with silicone and the RF cable penetration. So right there is the AP3 antenna mounted outside with our sign. Next photo is the photo of the inside of the building showing the RF cable penetration. See that it's sealed up with fire stop. And then the last one is the distance photo showing the entire side of the building. If you look at this photo, really should have been a little farther back to see the entire back of the building. However, in this situation, this was as far back as we could go. Sometimes you could step off to the left or step off to the right and get the entire back, but the main point that we're looking at here is we have the menu board in the picture with the antenna, and it shows us where the antenna is located at in comparison to the drive-through, and we also have our sign here. The last photo you'll need to take is a picture of the box containing the deinstalled hardware. It's the switch and the other APs if you're removing any of those, and they also want a picture of the label on the box. And then our McDonald's sign is in that photo as well. So that's it for the pictures tab. I think it's roughly 24 pictures here. I'm not going to go into detail on how to insert photos and resizing the photos and compressing them in here. However, I will make another video for just that. So if you're not familiar with inserting photos in the Excel spreadsheet or compressing them to make your Excel spreadsheet smaller, I'll make another video for that, and also in that video I'll have a pretty quick way to insert these pictures in the spreadsheet. A lot of people kind of do it the hard way, so I want to make an additional video on how to do that. That way we can get on and off site a little faster. So that wraps up the pictures tab. Okay, next is the CA form and topology tab. Basically what we're looking for here is to see the customer acceptance form completely filled out, everything checked off, and the site diagram drawn out correctly, including all the items stated on the document. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at that now. Okay, so now that we're on the CA form and topology tab, what they're looking for here is the 3 pages of the customer acceptance document form, and we're going to be looking at the first page here first. Basically just showing the store number at the top left and showing that everything's been checked off. So this basically shows us that throughout the entire install you've kind of been checking things off as you go, make sure everything gets completed. This is basically a check-off list just so we don't forget anything. So just make sure you get everything checked off, read all this stuff line by line as you're going through the install. Make sure you get all your photos taken as it states on the customer acceptance document. And moving on to the second page is basically what they call the topology. What we're looking for here is the site layout of the building. So we're gonna have everything in here. It has a list of things here at the top, and we need to go through that list. Make sure everything on that list is on this topology. If for some reason it's not, they're gonna kick it back. You're gonna have to redraw it, retake the photo, and re-upload it. Also, when you take your photos, make sure that your photo is directly on top of the paper, just like these photos here, and that you're able to read everything on the photo. If it's a little bit blurry, or maybe it's far away or at an angle and they can't read it legibly, they're going to kick it back to you. You're going to have to retake the photo and re-upload it. All of that just takes more time, so what I'm trying to do in these videos is teach you guys what they're expecting and what they're looking for to eliminate the long times on site. So in this topology, the things we want to capture here is the layout of the building. So as you can see in this topology, you can see the front counter area, you can see the dining room, the manager's office, the drive-through lane, location of AWS NMD cabinet. Also it shows you where AP1, AP2, and AP3 are located at, as well as the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz for AP1, and it shows you the cable pass for each AP as well as the RF cable pass. The last thing is what it shows you is the test points, the insider test points. One thing to keep in mind here, and we'll get into this on the next tab, on the insider screenshots tab, but is the test points. you want to be really specific on where you take the test points. They have the test points lined out exactly the way they want them. So for instance, test point 1 is right in front of the front counter to the right. Test point 2 is to the left. Test point 3 is the far right corner against the wall, and the test point 4 is far left corner. Test point 5 will be in the manager's office. And test point 6 will start at 20 feet beyond the COD. Test point 7 is at the COD. And test points 8 through 13 will be in 20 feet increments back and around the side building. So we want to make sure these are in this order. If you look at page, what page is this? Page 29 of the IDG. You can see it here as it shows all the test points. Test point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then through 13 around the side. It also has a list of the minimum RSSI readings for each test point. So just make sure you're taking your test points in this order. If they're not in this order, then they're going to kick back the as-built. You're going to have to retake all the test points again, and all this does is add time. So just make sure you take them in this order. It has a good diagram here to follow for you, and do the best you can with it. And if you have any questions, feel free to call us. We're here to help you. So then once you got that all drawn, move on to the third page, and you'll see basically the sign-off and the testing results. So you'll want to check off everything, showing that the RF testing was good, and also the manager should sign off, as well as the installer. And then it asks you if the store is 100% complete. If everything's complete, everything's testing good, you want to circle a yes, and then any additional comments you think might be needed, you'll want to write here in this box. So you know, if there's anything specific that you might want to take note of. A lot of people will put in the knock name and release ticket number here, or any overtime ticket numbers, any delays, just people they talk to, the things they troubleshot, they'll put there. So, and that's it for the CA form and topology tab. Okay, next is the fourth and final tab. It's the Insider Screenshot tab. So we already talked about the RF test points 1 through 13, and so I'll go into that a little bit more and talk about how to put these screenshots in the Excel as-built. So let's go look at the tab now, and we'll go through that. Okay, so here we are on the Insider Screenshots tab. As you can see, just like on page 29 of your IDG, they also have the same readings, required readings right here on the Insider Screenshot tab. So there's no excuse for not knowing what the readings should be. So as you can see, it goes 1 through 13. The first is the left side front counter facing counter, and it just kind of goes through the list. You'll notice that there is one RSSI reading that's a little bit different than the others, and that's test point number 5. The inside manager's office is -30 to a -75. Everything else needs to be to -70. Anything over -70 is not good. So if you're getting a reading of -78, 79, then we need to adjust the antenna. So okay, if you scroll down, you also see right here where it says the example of test point locations diagram. This is the diagram in the IDG. This one right here. They're basically saying that this is just one example of many different possible drive-through configurations. So the specific test points will be on a site-to-site basis, and you should use a measuring wheel to pinpoint the exact test points. Alright, so if we scroll down, you'll see test point 1. This is the one that's the left side front counter facing the counter. As you can see AP beacon 1 SSID, and the RSSI reading is -54. You can also see it in the graph down below. But what we're really looking at is the SSID, the RSSI reading, and the time that you scanned for. So you can see the first scene and the last scene are just over 60 seconds apart. So you want to make sure you're scanning for at least 60 seconds on each test point. I'm not going to go through every single one of these test points, but one thing I do want to go over is how to copy and paste these into the spreadsheet. So when you're looking at the Insider screen, you'll want to, as it's running, you'll wait 60 seconds. Once 60 seconds has elapsed, you'll do a print screen on your keyboard, and then you'll go back to your Excel spreadsheet and you'll do Control plus V as in Victor, and that will paste the screenshot right here. What you'll need to do after that is just resize the image to make it fit in here. So again, that was opening up Insider, and as it's running, wait 60 seconds. You will probably have to hit start at the very top right corner. So right now you'll see where it says stop. That's because it was running when they did the screenshot. So you'll hit stop, you do a print screen, you go back to the Excel spreadsheet, do a Control plus V, Control Victor, and that will paste it, and then you'll want to resize the image to fit in there. So again, when you're looking at Insider at the very top right, if you're not seeing anything run, it's because you need to click on start, and it will say start up there if it's not running. And then you just go down your screenshot test points. So test point 2 will be right side of the front counter, facing the counter. So you'll let your Insider run for 60 seconds, do a print screen, and then come back and do Control V as in Victor, and it'll paste that result in here. One thing you want to make sure you're looking at is the AP1 beacon, the AP2 beacon, the AP3 beacon. As you scroll down, you'll see test points 1 through 5 should all be test points AP beacon 1. So when you're looking at the SSIDs, you should see AP beacon 1 for test points 1 through 5. They all should pass within the minimum. Now, you might be looking at test point 5 here saying, hey, it's negative 72, this doesn't pass. But remember in the beginning, I said that there's one right here that's a little bit different than the other ones. So inside the manager's office, we can do up to negative 75 and still pass. Now you'll see when we get down to test point 6 that you'll see AP beacon 3. That's because test point 6 is in the back of the building, and as you go around you get to test point 8, and the rest you'll see AP beacon 2. Okay, now that you finished your as-built documentation, you're ready to save the as-built and upload it. In this portion I'm going to show you the naming convention on what to name the file to, and also how and where to upload it. So let's go and take a look at your IDG page 31, where this shows you how to do this. Okay, so on page 31 you'll see the uploading as-built documentation section. AT&T has created a web-based file upload site to allow you to upload the installation documentation right from the site. The folder has been established for each location based on the national store number. So what you want to do is when you save your as-built, you want to save it as the store number space 5 gigahertz space WBO and as a .xls file. As you can see on here, they use X's to show where the store number goes. So if your McDonald's store number is 1234, it'll say 1234 space 5GHZ space WBO, and you'll save that as an XLS document. So once you've got that saved, you'll want to go to their FTP location. All of that information is right here. It's also on your work order that will be sent to you via email with the as-built and the IDG. So if you go to https://mcd install.wayport.net, you'll be prompted for a username and password. There's a username and password right here on the IDG. OneSource also has a username and password. So if you use this login, it's WP staff, password JK08, T capital N X capital P. For the other password, it's login as OneSource, password is verb VERB 12 12 eat EAT. Once you log in, it'll ask you to enter the store number, and that's where you'll enter 1234 if that's your McDonald's store number. And you'll just submit store, and after that it'll take you to the file upload. One thing that a lot of technicians mess up is they will upload the as-built into the store install report. do not do that. Make sure you upload it into the other files, because if you upload it to the store install report, it'll overwrite the original installation documentation. So as long as your file is named correctly, upload it to the others files. You'll just click browse, browse to the file, insert that file, and then make sure you check the upload file box. And then once it's uploaded, you'll see how their example has 99995 5 gigahertz wireless backoffice.xls. For our example to be 1234, McDonald's 1234 5 gigahertz wireless backoffice, and that'll be uploaded. At that point, you can clean up and close out. So once it's uploaded, you'll call into OneSource. They'll get you connected over to AT&T. They're probably going to take a look at your Asbuilt, make sure it looks clean and neat. If there's anything that needs to be changed, they'll ask you to change it at that time. And then once it's uploaded the second time, they'll transfer over to AT&T for a final checkout. AT&T will go through the whole Asbuilt, make sure everything looks good. Once it's complete, they will give you a release number and release you from site. At that point, you want to call OneSource back to check out, and then they'll get you all released, take down all the information, will happen on site. And make sure you take the box and all the gear that you deinstalled and ship that off at UPS. You have finished the RF testing and Asbuilt documentation video. This was video 3 of 3. You are now finished with your AWS WVO installation training.